nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call to the public. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak at this time? If not, we'll move right on. Julie, treasurer's report.
Good evening. Not a lot to report. Summer tax collection started the 1st of July, so traffic in the office is picking up, and that's just the beginning of another cycle. The My Half payments are, we've received some more since last month, and I just got some more requests today, so that's really moving along good. The land bank met today, still in those organizational stages as we don't have any properties to work with, but we're still working on the organization, and we won't be meeting in August. Our next meeting will be September 12th at 9 a.m. here. Other than that.
Any questions for Julie?
I would note that Julie and the Land Bank have managed to complete all of the necessary documents that are required by the state within the program. So at this point, they're going to start looking towards other things and particular projects, but they've met all the requirements that need to be filed.
Okay, good deal. All right, thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, agenda items. I need a motion to approve the recommended first quarter budget adjustments for wages and benefits, general ledger, and all other funds as presented.
So moved.
Need support? Discussion.
So just briefly, these are our second quarter adjustments to make sure that we are within all of our line items and categories. As you can see, some of them are contractual services related. A lot of them, though, are adjustments in healthcare lines, which you see health, vision, dental across there. And that's also just standard business things.
Yep. Budget adjustments. Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, I need a motion to approve proposal B22-05201 with Brand Row for cathedral stone repair to the circuit courthouse in an amount not to exceed $47,000.
So moved.
Support discussion.
Very briefly, so Grand Row, as you know, is doing the courthouse renovations. They had one contractor who was ready and could squeeze us in as early as the next week to start doing some work. And the outside of that building is what they call cathedral stone. And so they're going to fix all the chunks that are removed, are currently have fallen off. And then they will go through and redo patches that are on there currently, because the current patches do not match what is there. So they're going to change.
We knew that. We've been discussing that. Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item C, I need a motion to approve the replacement of one environmental health sanitarian at a grade 9, 2 correctional deputies not to exceed step 3, and stipends for 2 academy cadets in an amount not to exceed $16.50 per hour.
So moved.
The motion and a second, discussion.
So very briefly, these are positions that have opened up over the course of the last month, and a couple that need to be refilled. In addition, Judge Stewart is here and Chrissy Lab to discuss item 4, which is the alternative dispute resolution clerk for circuit court. This is more informational, as they have money in the budget for this, and they have the ability as a separate branch of government to fill this position. They want to discuss it with the board.
Judge.
Hey, it's good to see everybody again. We've had a position open since 2016, and it's a jury clerk, ADR clerk. Circuit Court's been taking over all jury duties for all 3 courts, and we just like to fill that position. It's a level 5. It sat vacant. We hadn't needed it, but now after COVID, there's a lot of jury trials, and there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of demand. So we'd like to fill that position. And we thought, just in the interest of transparency, that we'd let you know that that's what we intend.
Very good. Any questions for the judge?
So we don't need a motion, that's just a...
No.
No, Judge Clarkson thought it best that we'd be transparent. We'd come over and talk to you about it.
Oh,
We appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
All right, good to see all of you. Take care of yourselves, be
Yep.
safe.
Thank you for coming. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the resolution for the United Way as an option for Shiawassee County employees.
Support?
Motion and support. Any discussion?
I'm not in favor of this. I think the employees could do that on their own. I feel like they're gonna be, I don't know, put on the spot. I mean, you can do that online if you want to. Our employees are certainly intelligent and capable enough of filling out an online, however they wanna give to whoever they wanna give. I don't know, I don't like it.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
It passes 2-1, to Wednesday. Okay, thank you. Item E, discussion on Veterans Facility.
Yeah, so very briefly, so we've been trying to get bids together to renovate the Griffin House, or Griffin Home, into the new Veterans Facility. Jeff Brands from Creek Point Architecture is here to talk with you a little bit about the process that we're going through. As COVID has ravaged certain things, supply and demand has changed, contractors have changed, building demands have changed. There's been a little bit of a delay in getting some of the bids in from some of the subcontractors. And so Jeff is here to talk about that along with Mike Reeves.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Brands from Creekwood Architecture. It's close. Yeah. What we're running into is that everybody is, even though inflation, everybody is so busy right now, and they're having a hard time. They don't have enough employees to get the work done that they're doing now, and to put prices together takes a lot of time to do that. So, and then with the prices fluctuate almost daily, so that some of them are afraid to, once they give the price, then they're stuck with it. And the price of material goes up, they're stuck with that price, and also the availability of materials. So the two general contractors that I chose are the ones that I've worked with. One next month will be 38 years. I'm working with the third generation of this company, which is Castle Brothers. We've worked with them. They're very honest. They're very capable. And the other one is RBF Construction that we've worked with for the last 10, 12 years. Again, very honest. I chose these two because I don't have to hold their hand through the entire project. They see a problem, they take care of it. They don't have to call me. I don't have to write an addendum, change order, get prices, and all these things, so they keep the job moving. I have a set of plans here. I'll stay afterwards, and we can go over it and show you exactly what we're planning on doing. So hopefully this week I will have the prices for those two, or from those two. So then we can make a decision.
If they happen to have them by Thursday, I will bring them to the board to see if the board wishes to consider them.
Yeah.
If
So-
not, we can need a special meeting.
Likely.
yeah, as soon as I get them, I'm gonna forward them to Dr. Boggs.
Very good.
So that's where we're at.
If, in the industry, because of the fluctuation in prices, and we watch commodity prices rocket up, rocket down, rocket back up. What have the contractors been doing lately if they get a bid, do they just put in there the bid's good for a day?
Yeah, it used to be 30 days, now it's like a week.
Okay.
It's just, that's just the way it is. And this RBF, they were not going to take any more work this year, but they're doing this as a favor for us. is they're just, everybody's swamped, there's not enough workers, there's not enough material, you know, the delay in getting the materials, you know, are just crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, steel joists are like 18 months out. So.
So you're gonna try to do the best.
Yeah. So that's why we didn't use any steel joists on this. We used wood trusses. So.
Okay. All right.
So,
Any more questions?
No, I appreciate the update.
like I said, I got a set of plans here. I'll roll them after the meeting. I'll roll them up, and you guys can take a look at them, or anybody can take a look at them.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
for
bet.
that.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah. Just one final thing, this morning we met at 11 o'clock, Parks Rec Board Committee that's redoing the master plan. Phil Hathaway and all of us have it well underway. Again, we have ambitious 5-year plan, of course, and things are moving along pretty well for projects on the parks. And I know Tim's here, and Tim, we were talking about Henderson, and we wanted to have the commissioners extend a deadline.
Yeah, for the grant till November, just so that we can figure out what we got left as far as money in there, if we wanna do anything else. There's about 5 more, like benches that we'd like to put in, maybe 6, a couple.
Maybe 6, yeah.
On the new trails, a couple on, maybe around the playground equipment. And there's a couple tables that need to be fixed for handicap, but other than that, and we're waiting for some of the signage, but as far as that, most of that park's pretty much done.
Pretty much. And what we have is we have still some money left in the grant, and so we want to make sure that we use the money that's in the grant. So if we wait till November, so I would ask
I'm not sure if the state will let us, but we
We'll
can't do
ask.
it without board approval anyway, so we
Yeah.
may as well get the board approval first, and because I haven't been able to get a hold of the guy at the state. They changed, whoever was doing it before ain't doing it no more, or retired, and I just need to find that person at the state.
Yeah, but if we have a motion that, then we can use more money of the grant to make sure we can do all the extra stuff that we've thought of over the last couple of months. So I'd ask my committee to give a motion that we would ask this, DEQ or the Eagle.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah, we would ask the state, use the state for an extension to November to finish up the work and so on and so forth.
So moved.
Motion second, any more discussion?
Is the deadline up now, or when's the deadline up?
Oh, the deadline was,
The end of this month,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, but I tried to get a hold of him before the end of this month.
yeah, we've tried it a couple times the last few.
I have not been able to figure out, or they haven't contacted me back yet.
No,
So, I'm not exactly sure, but I knew we had a board meeting now, so I'm gonna talk to them at that point, but it seems like they've never had a problem before extending it, so I don't see why they wouldn't now,
Alright,
So-
it's understandable. That's-
you know.
COVID really timeline a lot of
Yeah.
different things.
Don't use any steel beams.
Yeah, 18 months. Okay, with that,
Excuse me, may I have the extension for what?
oh,
The grant.
Henderson Park Grant
grant,
Henderson Park
Park
Grant?
grant.
through the state of Michigan.
Thank you.
You got it all now? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, very good. With that terminology clarification, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Do we have anything else? Doc, do you have anything? Then we have our last call to the public, for anyone that wishes to speak at this time. If not, motion adjourned, or motion meeting adjourned. There we go.
Would please join me for
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, is there anyone from the public that would like to address this committee? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Peter Preston with our Community Development Monthly Reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 41 zoning permits, 42 building permits, and 39 code enforcements. I'll let you know that from our previous conversation, I spoke with the deputy court administrator today to fine-tune some of our final details on the form and format of our civil infractions. We'll still be running the Municipal Civil Infraction Bureau out of our office, which will give folks an initial time to plead guilty and go ahead and pay a fine, and then go ahead and correct the violation. After that, it becomes a civil infraction that will go over to the magistrate and district court, and at that time, they can request informal or a formal hearing. The one outstanding question is how necessarily these are going to be served, and so I need to meet with the prosecutor's office now to determine that, and possibly work with the sheriff's department. So we are making progress.
Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Move into our agenda items. Item A, Dr. Boggs, taxable value presentation.
Yeah, so Pete, come on back up. So I asked Pete to put together a little look at our taxable value for Shiawassee County over the last, well, about 10 years or so. And we also differentiated between solar and non-solar income, so that you can see how that has impacted the taxable value. If you look at these color charts, it's much easier for you to look at from township to township and see them. In particular, I do want to draw your attention to the last one, which is Shiawassee County's on the back. And as you can see there, there's the light blue, the dark blue, the yellowish orange, and then the reddish orange one. And you see that gap in between those. That represents about $500 million worth of value that has been added as a result of solar over the course of the last 2-3 years or so in the taxable values.
Yep. So what does that equate to in actual dollars for the county and for the townships as well? And so we put together a little table here, because what we're talking about there is the taxable value increases that we've seen. But as far as recognizing revenue, this is just a little chart for Hazleton and Venice and for the county as a whole. And so the county right now, with its levy this year based on the taxable value of the solar, will be looking at an additional $800,000 in. I'm gonna walk through those again. And so that comes directly from the solar. So the county would have not realized the same amount of revenue without the solar in place. As you can see, two of the units, Hazleton and Venice, is essentially doubling what they would have collected normally in their township for their I think they're doing their operating and fire, and then Hazleton has operating and their roads. Their roads might be switched on that. So you can see though that the solar's had a significant impact on their revenue stream. I'll note that both of those communities also have went out on their own for zoning, which is interesting because now they have actual revenue to pay for that kind of activity based on the solar. That is the reason why they are doing their own planning and zoning now. So it's interesting to see the kind of impact that one industry can have on the county's revenue stream, and it's interesting to break these apart to see that down the road, if there's other sort of industries, we can do some projections in the future and show the difference in what can actually be calculated. Now the solar is going to depreciate for a period of approximately 15 years, and then it'll get down to about 40% of its original value, and then it'll stay there. The assessor, however, is going to have to keep track and be on top of the solar people. So if they're replacing panels, that comes in new. So you're not, it's going to take a while to get down to that 5%, because you get anything damaged, if you get a hailstorm, you're going to pretty much restart the whole process on replacing those panels. So an equalization, we'll keep an eye on that and hopefully work with the assessors there.
Do you feel it's at its maximum value?
Yes, it is fully complete for 2022, and so this is the maximum amount that you'll be collecting on this particular solar panel. From now on, you're gonna see depreciation.
Yeah, I'm a commissioner for Hazelton and Venice, and when I was at the Hazelton meeting, they were saying they wasn't getting any money from it, so I can show them this as the Bible, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I don't know where they were talking from, but they were kinda not too
I can
nice
actually,
about it.
I can show you I can provide any commissioner here the actual tax bills for either one of those units to show what the township is actually collecting for that solar. There's probably in total about 16 tax bills, and so I can give you the ones just for Hazelton, so you can hold it up and say, yeah, right here is where you can collect. On those though, they'll be collecting, I'd have to provide you 2021 tax bills for winter. Right now, this is an estimate for them for winter of 2022 taxable value, because the townships and the school districts only levy in the winter. The county and the SCT, the state education tax, levy in the summer. So this is a projection again for what's coming for the townships in the winter.
Now, who assesses the value of them?
These are industrial personal property.
Okay,
Okay, so the actual, whatever comes out of the ground there, or is in the ground is industrial personal property, which means it's self-reporting by the company that owns those. The assessor, however, your local unit assessor, can go ahead and challenge that and put an estimate down, but they have to have good reason. So if they drive by and see panels are being replaced, they need to mark down, hey, this needs to not just be depreciation, it needs to be depreciation plus new panels. And that's just the responsibility of the assessor.
so the township themselves look after that then?
The local unit assessor does.
Can I chime in on just one thing? I don't have the numbers because I wasn't expecting it, but Hazelton Township DDA did withhold quite a chunk in 2021 that they were able to capture and not send them to the county. So I don't have those numbers because I wasn't expecting that conversation, but Hazelton Township DDA definitely captured some good funds this year that they hadn't in the past.
And I believe that might be, I don't think that the solar fields necessarily fall in the DDA district, would they? I don't think so, but I think Hazelton has seen some, especially the village has seen some growth, and I'm not sure if Wheeler Trucking is also in that district as well. But yeah, it's industrial personal property. You need to also realize that the agricultural land that was there, can't be necessarily tilled up now, has been now classed industrial. A change in class only moves that taxable value, it does not increase it or uncap that. So the real property owners did not see, except for the rate of inflation, increase. Everything that you're seeing here revenue-wise is based on the personal property.
It's based on the personal property. So I'm trying to understand this $800,000 increase, and I think you might have just answered my question, because I'm trying to figure out whether county without solar, does that mean that the $800,000 is what the solar companies are paying us, or what would be paid above the taxes we would have gotten on that land normally? If normally we got, say, $100,000 in tax on that land, they paid $800,000, then the increase would be a $700,000 net gain. But now you're telling me this is only a tax on the personal property, the land is taxed separately, and is already in this first number, county without solar.
So the number as an empty field is in the 11 figure.
Okay,
And then with the item on it is with the personal property of the 800,000.
all right.
Good point, because the real property is
So
staying
that is
there.
then a true increase in the taxes being collected due to those solar panels.
Correct.
So the property itself is still being taxed then?
Absolutely.
Oh.
But it's
Right.
industrial classed and no longer agricultural classed.
Oh.
So it has gone
essentially an uncapping there depending on if it's lease or ownership. They do own some, but most of it's retained by in a lease agreement, so they would not see an uncapping there. But in some cases, if a solar company buys the actual land, that will come uncapped because it comes out of the ag class and they purchased it. So that's really diving into the details, but this right here best represents from those personal property statements for the solar, totally tied to them, is about an $800,000 increase in revenue.
Okay. So we're pretty confident in that number with just a little bit of wiggle room.
There's always, yeah, there's, when you run these out, 5 decimal points, it gets a little goofy when you're dealing with that, almost $3 billion worth of overall value, and then trying to squeegee that little bit out of there. There's some, so
Yeah.
don't write that exactly in the budget. The other thing I want you to be aware that industrial personal property is exempt from the school education tax in the summer, so they're not paying the state that SET tax. In the school district where they're operating, they are also exempt. The schools are making money off of school debt and sinking funds, and it is quite substantial. I think that Hazleton School District 9.6 for their debt. That's essentially double. So they're getting $1.6 million to apply towards their debt from that solar. That's nothing to sneeze at.
So the moral of the story is that these solar farms have had a substantial impact on the value and growth of Shiawassee County, especially in the last year. And that is revenue we would not have otherwise.
Everybody would not have that revenue.
That's correct.
Yes, not just the county.
But because of that revenue, it has helped us to keep up with what is otherwise stagnant growth.
Just to give you an idea, Venice Township, 11-year increase in SEV is 63.63%. That's almost unheard of. And then Hazleton is 54.81. I mean, they literally, their tax revenues have just, it's a steep climb.
Well, yeah, look at the chart on there.
Yes,
When you look at
it
the
does
counties
tell you.
at the overall, it looks like a slight increase, but you get to the townships. Essentially, the taxable value of Venice Township, it's like every property uncapped with a transfer and jumped up to their SEV, which is very odd to look at, and that's some of our formulas, and we do worry. The new construction also helped us to avoid significant decreases in Headley. If we had not had that new construction to necessarily balance against SEV increases, you would have saw a more significant drop due to Headley.
I see that we're at 5.422. If we hadn't had the SEV like we had, what did you expect that to be? 5 point?
Oh, it would have been definitely 2 points lower, 5.2.
Oh, 5.2?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it would have been a drop, but these formulas get a little wonky, and but when you have that kind of new construction, it really does kind of smooth things out.
So tell me again, now that I'm understanding that this is the personal property, not the land value, and that will be depreciated over, did you say
15 years.
15 years, evenly?
No, it's a table that was developed years back from the State Tax Commission. It's adopted by them, and it's just followed.
So over 15 years, we'll have a drop of 60%
Mm-hmm.
in this
60,
system.
actually,
Obviously,
yeah,
the
60 to
property
65.
itself is adjusted for inflation and
Mhm.
so on, but,
Yeah.
all right.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item B. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement for the joint management of the Shiawassee River Trail and authorize the board chair to execute the same.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
All right, we have a motion and support for item B. Questions, discussion?
So this was actually brought by Commissioner Garber to formalize our agreement participation in the river trail. I do not believe the town participated before, and participation at some point will likely mean they will ask for funding. So just keep that in mind.
Well, aren't they asking for $1,000?
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw.
It's immediate $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
questions or discussion?
Is that yearly then? Okay.
And the Shiawassee River Trail is that connected to the CIS bike trail? I mean, I know it's sort of loosely connected.
No, there's a
It's
gap
kind of
in
a
there.
separate thing.
There's a
Yeah.
gap in there.
This is from William Street up by the amphitheater over to McCurdy Park.
How long have they been operating? Since 2016?
And how else are they funded?
I think they are funded through the other local entities that participate or provide volunteer
Yeah.
service.
Sure does seem like a transfer of county wealth to a local municipality, which I don't really like. This was
Well,
Joanne.
it's a
Like-
series of them. Shiawassee County Airport Board, City of Corona, City of Owasso, Caledonia, Charter Township, and then Shiawassee County.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving item B forward onto a final vote, not a vote Wednesday, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion will fail and not move on. And now we'll move on to item C. We'll entertain a motion to approve the quote from Landfears for a new rooftop heating unit and, rather in an amount not to exceed $19,988.27.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion support for item C. Questions or discussion?
So there are 3 units that heat and cool this building, one for each floor. One for this floor does not work most of the time, substantially during winter, it does not work. And Tim has to go, or one of Tim's guys has to go up on the roof every single day to make sure that it is active and working. And that is just ridiculous.
How old is the unit?
I think it's close to 7 years, maybe a little older, maybe even, I would say between 7 and 10 years. But it has a bad, actually there's a heat exchanger where it must have a crack someplace where it's blowing out, and what happens is when it fires up, the gas blows out, and then it hits that sensor and it shuts it down. Its sensor was farther away, it would probably work, but it's a safety feature. And doesn't always do it, but when it does, guess what? It shuts her down. And then that means you got somebody up there, well, first of all, they complain here that it's cold, and then somebody's up there restarting it. So, I mean, it's been kind of going, it's been an issue this last year, mainly, and through the winter. I mean, it's fine for the air, but we don't have that, it's a heating issue, so it really should be replaced and a new one put in.
We get the air too, right?
Yeah, air will also be in that unit too.
Is it common for the lifespan to be so short?
Yes and no, sometimes it's just a unit, sometimes it's whatever, every once in a while you get, like a car, lemon, and I think this one was not as good as what, we haven't really had a whole lot of problems with the other ones that I've seen, but this one has just been an issue, kind of ongoing.
That's almost 3,000, if it lasts 7 years again, that's almost $3,000 a year. There are 3 units up there.
Yeah, but I don't think that these costs, what this one next one is either. I can't remember the cost of this when we purchased it, but I don't believe it was 18 or 19,000. But I know, of course, right now, the way things are going, it's crazy what you're paying for stuff. And the other problem is, if we're looking at it now, because I'm not even sure, it'll be close to when we get it. It might be close to winter. Just because of the supply.
So there are 3 units, you said, and are they all similar aged, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But we haven't had the issues. It's only been just with this one. Not so much with the other ones, so, but this one is just not good. The other problem is if it is a cracked heat exchanger or whatever, it needs to be replaced anyway.
fact that it makes the office staff uncomfortable. I don't care if the heat's on or not, I'm fine. But they get cold.
Okay, any other discussion?
And one more question.
Yes.
Is this built into the maintenance budget someplace? Is this coming out of someplace else?
This is something that's gonna either have to come out of maintenance, or if there's money left over at the end of the year after, we see what the courthouse bid is, we may ask to do a transfer to ARPA, but at the moment, it would have to come out of maintenance.
Good question. All right. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of moving item C onto another vote on Wednesday, committee of the whole signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will move on to Wednesday. At this time, is there anyone from the public that would like to address this committee? All right, Dr. Boggs, before I adjourn here, a confirmation, no committee meetings tomorrow. Correct?
That is correct. These are all the agenda items we have for this month. So we do not have any that fall under the other two committees. So our next meeting will be Wednesday, committee of the whole, 5 o'clock here.
Thank you very much. All right, this meeting is adjourned.